By the way, we could have conducted this interview in Hebrew, right? You speak fluent Hebrew.
I'm rusty. If it was 50 years ago, yes.
Your father was a Hebrew professor.
Yeah, and I lived in Israel for a while, and my Hebrew was, you know, obviously an American accent, but it was fluent. I can still read perfectly well, but I wouldn't trust myself to speak. I have to think too hard to get the words out.
But you know, I think it emphasized the complexity of the issue, because on the one hand, you speak Hebrew and you come from a Jewish family, and you talked about anti-Semitism when you were young, and you lived on a kibbutz, and you actually considered staying and living in Israel. And on the other side, you were the most outspoken critic of Israel, and I mean, you undermine Israel's existent right to exist.
That's quite false. In fact, I don't regard myself as a critic of Israel. I regard myself as a supporter of Israel. The people who are harming Israel, in my opinion, and it's what I've said many times, are those who claim to be supporting it. They are helping drive Israel towards moral degeneration and possible ultimate destruction. I think support for Israel should be support for policies which are to its benefit.
But you talk about the fact that you don't support the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state.
I don't report.
And
support the right.
The Israeli public saw you go and shake hands with Hezbollah's leader Nasrallah just a couple of days before he started bombing Israel and so on.
A couple of days before, and furthermore, they saw pictures of me meeting Nasrallah, but they didn't see pictures of me meeting his main enemy, with whom I spent much more time, Walid Jumblat. What's happening is that when I went to Lebanon, as in any other country, I try to find out as much as I can about the country if I have a little time. So I met with the head of Hezbollah. It's a major political force in Lebanon. In fact, in the last elections, the coalition that
yes, but it's also this leader who's calling the demolition of Israel. And
actually, what Hezbollah's position has been is that any position that the Palestinians accept, they'll accept. He doesn't think Israel should exist. Okay.
I mean, he has so many missiles which are aiming Israel, and now he's aiming to bomb Tel Aviv. But you know, even there should.
I'm sorry, he has missiles, but they're used for deterrence. Now, let's go back a step. You said I'm calling for the destruction of Israel, or some words like that.
No, that you...
I don't think it should exist as a Jewish state. Yeah, I don't think the United States should exist as a Christian state. I don't think that Pakistan should exist as an Islamic state.
But there's a big difference, because the United States and Pakistan, there is no nation in the world calling for their destruction and having a nuclear weapon like Iran, for example. And
like Iran does not have nuclear weapons, and it's not calling for the destruction.
It is calling for the destruction. Ahmadinejad is very specific in saying that...
These are quotations that appear in the Israeli press.
I heard him say that in his voice.
No, what he said is, I don't approve of it, he said he was quoting Khomeini during a period when Israel was very close to Iran and didn't mind Khomeini saying it. He said, in the end of time, Israel will disappear, words like that.
No, he was very specific.
But look, Israel is in a position of security well beyond that of many other states, which do not, and insofar as they call themselves not states of their citizens, but states of a particular category of citizens, I object to it, in principle.
So what should I understand from your words? What are you telling Israelis? Go back to Europe,
not
live as a minority here in Israel,
look,
take a chance, disregard history, sit on the beach. What should we understand from your, what is the reaction tomorrow morning?
Exactly what I write 1,000 times. Though I was opposed to the existence of a Jewish state, and that was part of the Zionist movement, remember, as a Zionist youth leader, yes, I was opposed to the forming a Jewish state. Once it was formed, 1948, my position has consistently been that Israel should have all the rights of every state in the international system, no more and no less. Now, Israel demands more, and I don't agree with that.
But you know, the number one, I think, argument against what you preach for is the double standards, saying that, you know, from talking of freedom of speech in countries where freedom of speech does not exist. You're going to Lebanon tomorrow, or when you go to, even here in Jordan, I don't think it's limited compared to Israel. Is Israel as bad as other countries?
Did I ever say that?
You spend so much time targeting Israel.
Really? Did Amnesty International ask me to give a talk that they could use to criticize human rights violations in Israel. No, they did it for Syria.
But you said you have limited time. Looking in the map in the world, there are so many problems. Why is Israel in the center? Israel still, if you look around, is struggling, is trying to give democracy away, and it has gay rights and human rights.
If you started by asking why is Israel in the center, answer, it isn't. Not for me. What's in the center for me is the United States, and for a very elementary moral reason. The moral principle is we are responsible for our own actions and their consequences. Every crime that Israel commits is because of U.S. participation and authorization. So any decent American citizen, even without a special interest in Israel, as I have, should have these in the center of their attention, because those are the ones we're participating in, we're responsible for, and responsible.
But what is worse in your eyes, the actions in Israel and in the territories, or for example, what's going on in Afghanistan now? How do you prioritize these two?
There's no way to, because I talk about both of them all the time.
But is Israel what's going on in Israel as severe as what's going on in Darfur, Afghanistan,
well, let's
Sudan?
Take Darfur. In the case of Darfur, yes, the crimes are worse, but there is much less that I can do about them. Much less, almost nothing, in fact. So yes, it's fine to sign petitions criticizing them, but there's no moral value to that.
And you feel moral value because A, you're a citizen of the U.S., and B, you have connections to Israel, and you feel that you're part of
Let's put aside the personal connection to Israel, which is there, but if I had no connection to Israel at all, simply as an American citizen, it would be of prime concern because the U.S. is decisively involved. But Israel, for example, could not attack Gaza, could not carry out the occupation and so on without decisive and direct U.S. diplomatic, military, and economic support.
You know, I think you're taking a lot of responsibility here.
A person should take responsibility for what they are responsible for.
Yeah, but